Before I begin, if you're the kind of person who listens to stories you're not supposed to hear, you might want to stay a while. Hit subscribe, just in case this disappears. I wasn't supposed to open it, but I did. And now, I don't know if that was me watching it or it watching me. I keep thinking about the way the screen flickered before it started. Just a half-second glitch, like it hesitated. Like it didn't want to be seen all at once. That's what messes me up the most. Not the video, not even the sound, but the feeling that whatever was inside it already knew me. I wasn't even logged in when I played it. I hadn't entered a password. I didn't click anything. It just started. And the timestamp didn't match anything in our system. It was ahead. 17 hours ahead. As if it had already happened. As if I was about to watch something I hadn't lived through yet. And now every time I blink, I see that same frame. Paused at the exact moment her mouth opens. Not to speak, to scream. Only, I never heard a sound. Just the static crawling under my skin like it knew how loud silence could be. That was 2 years ago. And I still haven't turned my laptop back on. I used to work nights for a third-party moderation firm contracted by TikTok, nothing fancy. Just a row of gray cubicles, cheap fluorescent lights that never flickered quite right, and rows of people with noise-canceling headsets pretending they weren't being eaten alive by what they saw. We didn't call ourselves moderators. We joked and called ourselves janitors because we cleaned up what no one else wanted to see. Violence, nudity, blood, screams, loops of people hurting each other and sometimes themselves. But everything had a category. Everything had a protocol. Until the night that file showed up. You won't find it now. I tried. I even traced the logs myself. But whatever it wasn't uploaded by a user. There was no metadata, no account ID, no IP trace. It just appeared, time-stamped at 2:07 a.m. My shift, my login, my name, and the moment it appeared, I felt something in the room shift, like the hum of the monitors got louder, like the building itself had turned to face me. I clicked play. Of course I did. You would have too. And from that moment on, nothing about my job felt like work anymore. It felt like a punishment. They didn't tell us who owned the footage we reviewed. That was part of the deal. We were trained not to ask questions, just check the boxes. Is it violent? Is it sexual? Is it a threat? There was even a key combo we could press to black out the screen if we felt it was affecting our mental health, but no one ever used it. Not because we were strong, but because if you admitted something got to you, it meant you had to talk to HR. And talking to HR meant they'd start watching you. People quit in quiet ways. Sometimes their chairs were empty when I came in for my shift. No warning, no goodbye message, just gone. Like the algorithm had decided they'd seen too much and deleted them too. I used to laugh about that. We all did. Until I stopped laughing. Because after that file, the system started showing me things I never approved. Files I don't remember watching. Comments with my name embedded in them. Drafts in languages I don't speak, saved from my account. Once I got flagged for approving something I never saw. I swore I didn't touch it, but when they showed me the logs, there it was. My mouse, my clicks, my timestamp. Like someone was pretending to be me, or worse. Like the me in the logs wasn't this me. That's when I started sleeping in the break room. Not because I was tired, because I didn't want to go home. There was something about the break room light, flickering, soft, almost too quiet for a place full of vending machines and buzzing microwaves. I'd wrap myself in the emergency blanket we kept under the sink and stare at the coffee machine. pretending each beep and drip was someone still awake with me. I stopped checking my phone. Notifications gave me anxiety. Even the clock app started to glitch. It would reset itself to 2:07 a.m. no matter when I opened it. Every time. And when I'd scroll back through the review queue to find the files I'd supposedly cleared, they'd be gone. Not deleted, just never there. No records, no flags, no audit trail, like I'd made them up. But I knew what I saw. I remembered the woman with no face walking backwards through a train station. I remembered the man feeding coins into a payphone that wasn't connected to anything. I remembered the child sitting completely still in a bathroom mirror, only the mirror version blinked. I remembered all of them. I just couldn't prove they were ever there. And when I tried to report it, when I pulled my supervisor aside and said something isn't right, he didn't even ask what I meant. He just stared at me and said, "Don't stay past your shift anymore." Not why, not what did you see, just that. Like he already knew, like they all knew. That's when I realized the real rule wasn't about protecting the world from what we saw. It was about making sure we didn't start believing it was real. The weirdest part was how normal everything still looked. The water cooler still glugged when it refilled. The security guy still nodded when I passed, even though he never blinked. My coworker Jasmine still chewed pens like she was solving a murder mystery on every case. And yet, there was this quiet hum behind it all. Like the office was pretending to be alive. Like if I looked too long at anything, my desk, the hallway cameras, even the pot of fake succulents by the printer, it would stop pretending and just watch me instead. I started taking longer routes to the break room. Started muting the speakers because I swore I heard voices layered beneath the training videos, not talking, breathing, like someone holding their mouth an inch from a microphone. And still, every morning at 9 o'clock, the queue would refresh. Videos flagged for review. Thousands. No one ever asked who flagged them. No one asked where they came from. We just clicked, logged, archived. That was the rhythm. That was the ritual. Until the day something came in that didn't want to be archived. The file came in at 3:12 a.m. That's the dead hour. Not just on the clock, in the air. Everyone else had gone home. The overhead lights were set to night mode, casting a pale violet hue across the floor like a bruise. I was the only one left in that glowing fishbowl of screens and silence. It didn't have a username, no upload source, no metadata, just a string of characters for the file name, like someone fell asleep on a keyboard. And next to it, the red tag. For review only, do not archive. We weren't supposed to get red tags. Our red tags went upstairs. I hovered my mouse over it, just hovering, like maybe it would delete itself if I hesitated long enough. But it didn't. It just sat there pulsing. A still thumbnail, no preview. Just pitch black with one faint shimmer of movement in the bottom left corner. Not movement, breathing. I don't know why I clicked it. Maybe because I felt watched if I didn't. Maybe because part of me already knew it wasn't a test. The screen flickered once when it opened, just enough to reflect my face back at me for a split second. But my eyes weren't in the right place, like the reflection was still buffering. Then the video began. A room. Not dark. Dim in noise. The kind of dim where nothing is shadowed but everything is wrong. The camera never moved, but the walls, they were closer in every new frame. In the center was a woman. Her back turned, still. Not shaking, not swaying, just holding something in her hands. And then the screen went black. No ending. no runtime, no player controls, but the sound kept going. At first I thought it was a glitch, audio from another tab or a buffering loop. I muted the system, the sound kept going, a low hum, not quite human, not quite machine, somewhere between a broken fan and a breath you don't want to hear. I pressed escape, nothing, tried Alt F4, nothing. It wasn't frozen, it just wouldn't let go. I reached around to unplug the monitor, and that's when the voice came through, not loud, not whispering, just there. A woman's voice, but too flat to be real. No breath, no stutter, like someone stitched the syllables together out of code and sorrow. And she said my name, not once, not loud, but she said it, pronounced right, paused in the middle the way my mom used to when she was mad. I stared at the screen, still black, and the shimmer in the bottom left began to pulse, like light behind wet gauze. Then it shifted, not moved, shifted, the way a memory changes after too many retellings. What was once the corner of the screen was now the back of her head, and her head was tilting, too slowly, like her neck was learning how to break in reverse. That's when I yanked the Ethernet cord out. Screen still black, sound still playing, head still turning. Her head was tilting, slowly, unnaturally, like she was listening to something behind me. But there was nothing there, just the buzz of the light above and the hum of a dead feed. I should have looked away. I should have stopped it. Then I realized it wasn't tilting to hear. It was learning how to break in reverse. The next day, I tried to flag the footage. Standard protocol, tag it, log it, escalate to tier 3. But the file was gone. Not deleted, just gone. Like it had never existed in the first place. I checked the archive logs. Nothing. No trace. No audit trail. Like the system itself had swallowed it before anyone else could see. I even checked my keystrokes from the night before, but they weren't mine. The clicks were too fast, too deliberate, like someone else had been in my session, mimicking me or worse, recording me. I told myself maybe I hallucinated it, lack of sleep, too much caffeine, maybe even burnout. But when I got back to my terminal, there was a sticky note on the edge of the monitor, just 2 words, in red ink. Keep watching. I didn't write it, no one owned up to it. Security swore no one had access to the mod floor after hours, and yet there it was, sitting right where my hand would land first. I threw it away, but it didn't matter, because that night the video came back. Different file name. Same woman. Except now, she wasn't just standing. She was pacing in a perfect loop, like a GIF, but not quite. Every third loop, she'd look directly at the lens. Her face blank. No emotion, just noticing me. Like she was aware I was watching, and she was letting me watch her rehearse. For what? I didn't know. Until I realized the kitchen she was pacing in, it was starting to look more and more like mine. Same tile pattern, same cupboard hinge that hung slightly crooked. The microwave light blinked in the exact same rhythm. I paused the video. I turned around in real life, and for a second I couldn't tell if I was still in the office or if somehow I'd already gone home. I pulled the Ethernet cable, forced a shutdown, physically unplugged the hard drive, but when I booted the next morning, the file was already open, not just in 1 tab, in 3. Each paused at a different frame, one where she's facing the wall, one where she's crawling under the table, and one where she's gone entirely, just the kitchen light swinging like she'd run past the camera. I checked the source. No network path, no file tree. The media player itself couldn't identify the codec. Just an error, streaming from local, except I hadn't streamed anything and there was no local. I called it, told them I might have a virus. They ran the full scan, system clean, but one of the techs leaned in, squinted at the screen, and said something that froze me. "Is that your apartment?" I didn't answer. I just closed the lid, slammed it actually, hard enough to snap the USB port. Because it was my apartment. The backsplash tiles I painted myself, teehee burnt coil on the stove, the off-white fridge with a magnet from the Thai place down the street. Frame by frame, this woman was walking through my home, but I wasn't in it. Or maybe I was, and I hadn't noticed myself missing yet. That night I couldn't go back there. I booked a capsule pod in the city, just a mat, a light, and 4 walls I could actually see all at once. But even there, the pod TV glitched. It flickered on at 3:11 a.m., playing nothing but static and a single line of subtitles, "Do not look away." I turned the TV off. I unplugged it. I smashed the remote. But when I lay back down, the glow was still there, not from the screen, but from the mirror across the pod. I sat up. The reflection was still flickering, the same static, the same message. But this time, my reflection wasn't moving when I did. I started leaving sticky notes on my desk just to remember what day it was. But by the time I got back from the bathroom, they'd be gone, or worse, rewritten in handwriting that looked like mine if I was asleep while writing. I stopped talking to people in the break room because every time I said something out loud, I felt like I was being recorded, not by cameras, by something else, like the air itself was listening, waiting. One night I woke up to the sound of typing, but I lived alone. I crept into the living room and saw my own laptop open, chat window blinking, words appearing on screen like someone was responding to a conversation I hadn't started, but couldn't stop. I didn't recognize the username, but the other person kept typing my name, over and over, like a chant, my full name, middle included, the exact way it appears on my HR paperwork. I shut the lid, unplugged it, and stuffed it in a drawer. But when I opened my phone, the same chat was open. Only now, it had a photo of me. One I didn't take. One where I was asleep, or at least I think I was asleep. My eyes were half open, and the smile looked like it wasn't mine, like it was drawn on. After that, I stopped sleeping in the dark. I started unplugging everything. I turned my mirrors around. I covered my webcam with black tape. I deleted every photo I'd ever taken of myself. I even left a voice memo on my phone reminding me who I was. Just in case I woke up one day and didn't sound like me anymore. And then one night, I heard myself laugh. But I was alone. It was faint, almost swallowed by the hum of the refrigerator, but it was mine. My exact pitch, my exact rhythm. I stood frozen in my kitchen, the phone still charging in the other room, the TV off, no calls open, nothing. I didn't want to move, like my own body was bait in a trap I couldn't see. That night, I didn't sleep, not even in the break room. I just sat in the stairwell, holding a cup of water that I didn't remember filling. My hands were shaking, not from fear exactly, but from that horrible feeling of knowing something knows you better than you know yourself. The next morning, I found a comment on an old TikTok I'd reviewed weeks earlier. It just said, "You blink weird." I clicked the user profile. It was blank, no posts, no followers, but the profile photo was my left eye, just the eye, cropped tight, blinking. And one morning, my toothbrush was wet before I touched it. The mirror was fogged up like someone had just taken a shower, but I live alone. My towel was damp. I stood there holding it, dripping, wondering if I had forgotten I used it, or if someone else had. I checked the door. Still locked, deadbolt too. I opened my phone. The battery was full, but the call history was wiped. I scrolled through my photos. There was one from that morning. My bed still made. My front door open. Me, standing in the doorway, blurry, like I'd moved just as the shutter clicked. But I don't remember taking it, and I don't sleepwalk. At least, I didn't. That's when I realized I didn't know what my own voice sounded like anymore unless I played it back. I reported it, of course I did. I took the photo to my supervisor, asked about the call logs, the login anomalies. She smiled too quickly, like she'd practiced it, said I must be overworked, said burnout can cause temporal confusion. That was the phrase she used, temporal confusion. They gave me 3 days off, no questions, no follow-up. When I came back, my desk had been reassigned, my badge didn't scan. IT said I was never on the payroll. My employee ID pulled up someone else's face, a guy who quit 6 months ago. I asked for the security footage. They said the cameras in that section hadn't worked in weeks, but I remember them blinking red. I remember waving at them. I remember thinking, at least someone will see this, but no one ever did. I went home. My apartment was exactly as I left it. Too exact. The mug on the table was facing the wrong direction, like someone had put it back how they thought I used it. I checked the closet. My clothes were all there, but none of them smelled like me. That night, I didn't sleep. I just listened. To the radiator, to the fridge, to the small sound of breathing that wasn't mine. But what still gets me, what keeps me from sleeping even now, it wasn't that file, it was what came after. Because 2 weeks later they promoted me, moved me to Tier 5 content, said I was one of the few who could handle it. They gave me a new login, a new protocol, and the first video I saw there didn't come from a user. It came from inside TikTok. No username, no timestamp, just a message in the title. Welcome back. If you're still watching, comment, I'm not supposed to be here. And if this shows up on your feed again, don't say I didn't warn you.